Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at AVAX. Before we jump into the price action, I'd just like to say thank you for watching. If you are enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff now. So we want to just talk about a couple of macro things here before we jump into the smaller term moves. So within this, we were looking for that possibility that potentially we could complete into this low, in which case this move here could be the start of a trending move to the upside. We need to be cautious though, because this could also still be a running flat in here because the structure within this move to the downside is not great. It is possible to potentially count it as a diagonal where basically this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and then that's completed, which is fine. But we need to just be aware that, we could still just count that as well as an A, a B, and then potentially a C down into this low. So because of that fact, basically what we need to be careful of is if this is a running flat here, we could actually break to the downside one more time and take this low of this 1054. Alternatively, the other bearish potential here is that we have something bigger like this playing out where actually our fourth wave is here and we look at this as an ABC, and then this could basically become a wave one, and we're looking for this possibility of a wave two. Until we actually break these highs of this 3089, we need to be careful because this could actually just be a three-wave structure here, and then we could still look to break down. So basically what this would be looking for, this structure here would be looking for an additional two waves to the downside here, which could actually push us quite deep down into this zone. What we'd be looking for is basically, I don't think that this wave two would be completed if it is the case. And what we could be looking for is this is an A, B, and then we're looking potentially for that C wave to the upside. So really, until we actually break this 3089, we need to be careful of this as a three-wave structure to the upside. Could end up being this wave two, in which case we're going to get another zigzag down, a zigzag up, and a zigzag down. So this once we get more structure here, potentially we can look to try and work out where this top channel is. This is just thrown in there for the moment, but this bottom one could potentially form along the lines of some of these structures here, something like this, where we'd connect up these 3 points here, and then basically that could look to be the bottom end of this channel if we are looking at a diagonal here. If we do only form three-wave move to the upside here, we would also still have to be careful if we just formed something like this as an A, B, and then a C to the upside. Potentially what we could then have is from further back here, this whole move could be a triangle where this becomes an a B, this becomes a C, we get a D and an E, and then we look to break down. So, this possibility of a triangle is still viable as well. If we're looking at this, what we'd be looking out for is a three-wave move to the upside that fails to break above this 3089. If we do get a three-wave move that moves up here, then what we'd be looking for is that confirmation of this D wave by maintaining above this B wave low at this 1054 here. So we need to just give it a bit of space and time before we could confirm this, because we can only confirm it on this D wave, but it's something we're looking out for. If this does play out, this could mean that we're just going to be ranging here for quite some time. So keep an eye on that fact. Okay, so if we want to be bullish and we want to talk about this possibility that we are already looking for a move from these lows, basically what we need to do is look for that. Let me just find the right count here. There we go. So basically what we'd be looking for would be two things. With either of these options, I am still anticipating that possibility of another push up if we are looking at this as an end point. So what we'd be looking for is basically this is an A, potentially this is a B completed, and for as long as we hold the low here of this 1388, we can still look at this possibility. So we could look for a five-wave move, potentially up to this 12 zone, which could be looking to actually challenge these highs. Or alternatively, if we do get a bigger five-wave move up here, potentially we could see this play out as a 1, 2, 3 up into this zone of this 48.51, fourth wave down here, and then an additional fifth wave to the upside, which could look to take us up towards the 64.73 to this 54.02 area. So keep an eye on this. If we do move up into this zone, we do need to be a little bit careful, because if I come out here, I have thrown this box on here, and this is just a typical B wave retracement or for this move to the downside. if we do actually get only have a three-wave structure up into this, it could actually indicate that we could still actually come down and set a lower low. So this is something we need to be aware of, and on the bigger time scale here, it is still possible for us to move up significantly here before actually still breaking down deeper. So that's what we got to be just a bit cautious of in the longer term. So I'm going to actually come down back into that 4 hourly, and we're going to discuss this move. So what I'm looking for here, we're currently stuck in this channel, and basically for as long as we are within this channel, we have to assume that we could potentially move down one more time here. And now there's a couple of ways we're going to look at this. So I'm going to talk about that possibility of breaking down first. The breakdown, we need to be cautious of something like this playing out. So at the moment, what I'm looking at is we can count this just as an A, B, and a C into here because we've come back above this wave one high. We could also look at this potentially as a diagonal. We will go over that in a second. But for as long as we actually remain below this wave two high of this 2166, potentially we could actually look for continuation to the downside. And what I want to see here is be aware that, if we just get a three-wave move up into this zone here of this 1962 to this 1730. So we've actually come into this once already. But if we do get another push up here and we fail to sort of break above and move away from the 786, potentially we could actually see continuation to the downside. So that could either be where this is an A, we get a B up, and then we get a C down, or alternatively, in the more bearish case, which is what we're looking at here, we'd have to be careful of any kind of a direct move down past this 896 range. If we do lose this 1229, it becomes more likely we're actually going to see one of these bearish plays taking place, and we could then see a bigger five-wave move play out here, where we move down to this 896, bounce up towards this 1177 range, and then continue to the downside for an additional third wave. If we do break down here, we'd have to keep an eye out for an additional fourth and a fifth, and then potentially look for that continuation to the downside. The alternative that we were looking at within this is basically we were looking for a five-wave move previously. The traditional five-wave move is actually invalidated, but what we could still see here is because of the way the structure is forming, we could actually see an expanding diagonal here. The thing is within this, what we'd have to stay below this point here of this 2166. And if this was the case, we would have to, once we reject, depending on how high we come here, we want to go off this 618 at this 1917 area. But if we did, we would have to move down past this 1229 area. This box is already now redundant, so I'm actually going to remove that. Try just remove just the box. There we go. So we'd have to move down past this 1229. That's if we do move up. If we had to break directly down here, we'd have to move past this 1149. So keep an eye out. If we do break down in a five-wave move here, which does pass this 1149, potentially this whole move could be a diagonal pattern here, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then basically this would then either be the A wave, or alternatively, this could be a wave one if we do get something like that playing out. So just be careful about that fact. It depends exactly how we break down here and what happens afterwards. So that's what we're looking out for. We need to be aware that there is potential to break down. However, for as long as we hold this 1388, we did come into the 618 region. So we can argue that potentially we are looking for a bigger move here where, potentially we could look at this as a wave 1, 2, and then we're looking for a bigger third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave to the upside. So this is viable for as long as we maintain this 1466 area and we stay above this 1388. If we start to lose this 1466, it becomes more probable we're actually going to lose this 1388, and then what I'd be looking out for would be potentially coming down towards the zone of this 1356 or this 1308 region, and potentially looking to actually retest this channel. Obviously, we'd have to be careful because if we drop down past this 1305 area, it is possible we could get a fourth and a fifth wave down like this, and then we'd have to see what happens from there because basically that would either be that this is an A, B, and a C, or alternatively we could get this as another zigzag within here where this becomes a W, X, and a Y to the downside. But yeah, if we start to break down in five-wave structure, I'd be very cautious about that more bearish potential. But yeah, so for as long as we hold this zone, yeah, we can look for this potential upwards. This move to the upside is a little bit tricky. There's a couple of ways we can look at it. We can either look at this move as basically in here as an ABC, and then we're breaking down for this C wave potentially because we've been rejected off this area. If we fail to actually break back here and break this high, which is sitting here at this 1791, potentially, even if we do move up a little bit higher here and even retest this channel and the 786, the 1734, if we fail to actually break above this and consolidate and move away, it's possible that we could actually just get this as an A. We come back up for a B and then we get a C wave down here to some of these lower areas, looking to push potentially towards this 1466, depending on how high we go. If we directly break down from here, 1 to 1 would be this 1441. So keep an eye on that zone, as well as this center line of this channel could be an interesting one. So yeah, I mean, it is possible we could see a little bit more continuation up here into this channel line and reaching the 786. If we do keep an eye on it, it would be a challenge of this high point. It would be a 786 retracement and a challenge of the channel line. So depending on what other coins are doing, this could be potentially a good short entry. That's obviously not financial advice, but it is something that I would be looking at if we did move up there and it was just and we weren't following the impulsive move that we're going to be talking about in a second. So okay, so let's talk about this. So we could look to break down directly from here. That's all fine. And then we need to maintain this 1388 for that bullish potential of looking to push up here. So we need to be careful though. If we just move up in a three-wave move, so looking at this as a 5, if we just come back down here, even if we do come down deeper, if we just form a three-wave move and we fail to achieve that 1618, we need to be careful of that continuation, like I said previously. That could then become a fourth wave in a diagonal, or it could be a wave 2 within that much more bearish option, and then we could look to break down from there. So as long as we hold this zone though, potentially we can look for at least another leg to the upside. And it's going to be important whether this manages to reach towards this 2302. If it does, potentially then we can have an additional fourth and fifth wave looking to reach up towards this 2540 area. And then that could be pretty much, if we do get a 5-wave move up like this, we'd have to be cautious because that could then complete a bigger ABC pattern here, and we'd have to see what happens after that. If we form a 5-wave move that comes into this area and doesn't extend up higher, we're going to have to watch this retracement. If this retracement happens in 3 waves, then potentially this could become another 1 and a 2 here, and then we could set up for a bigger high move. Or alternatively, this could just be a corrective zigzag here and then actually we break down. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that retracement after this move to the upside if we do get a 5-wave move. Okay, so on the smaller time frame, I'm going to come into the hourly now. Potentially, we could argue that this is completed here. This is a 3-wave move down, and we could have actually set this wave 2 or this B wave low. And then now we're looking for this move to the upside towards this 1966 at a 1-to-1 or 2302 area at a 1618. So now within this, basically what I'm looking for, if we want to argue and say this is a bullish move, within this internal structure here, what I'm looking at is we can potentially count this as a 1 and a 2 in here, and then basically a 1 flat for a 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a third wave, and then basically looking for this as a fourth wave. If we hold this 1613, potentially we could see this fifth wave play out towards this 1733 to this 1708 region. And then from there, what we'd want to see is what happens next. If we do get a 5-wave structure up here, potentially into this zone, which would be a test of that 786 and that channel line potentially, what we could then look for is a retracement and then looking to find support again in this zone of the 1618 to this 1564. If, however, we do just break down directly from here, we could still potentially find support here within this zone, the 1618 to this 1564. However, we need to be careful because if we fail to form an additional fourth wave here and a fifth wave up, it becomes less likely that we're within an impulse. But really, until we actually break down below this low point of this 1524, we could have something like this is a 1-2, this is a 1-2, and then we look to push up. So we'll have to see if it manages to hold position. But ideally, what I'd like to see is a 3-wave move down here for a fourth, potentially into the 1631 to the 1613 area, retesting this area here, and then looking to push up one more time for this fifth wave here. And then from that area, basically what we want to see is a wave two come down, and then looking for that bigger push up towards the zone of this 1937. Yeah, so that's what we're looking out for. There is the possibility that, if we are looking at this as a one and potentially a two, there could be some extension that happens within here where, potentially we could form a series of ones and twos. So we need to look out for that. We could see something like this as a one, we come back for a two, maybe we push up again for a one, come back for a two, and then we look to push up. And then that could give us those extra waves that we need to get higher up here. That's the wrong one. Apologies. That's the one I want. To get up here towards this $23 range for this bigger wave three. So keep an eye on that. For as long as we're setting higher lows and higher highs, we could potentially look for this continuation to the upside here. But yeah, keep an eye on this channel as well. If we reject down, this 1466 is going to be a key zone. Losing that is potentially going to mean we have lower to go. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. As well as that, you will find affiliate links for both PrimeXBT and BYBIT down there, both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis. If you do not have an account, using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.